Subscribe to Geomami Mumbai Film Festival and hit the bell icon to keep yourself updated on conversations on Dial M for Films. Hello and welcome to Dial M for Films. We are talking to actor Shayoni Gupta about keeping it real. My first memory of Shayoni Gupta is through an article called The Rangmanch Girls that came out in Open Magazine in 2015. She had already clocked half a decade in the industry by then. Shayoni's childhood was soaked in the arts. Her father was a musician. Growing up, Shayoni marinated in music, world cinema, classical dance, and was privy to endless conversations about art and politics. The pull towards performing arts became stronger when she joined Lady Shriram College and was exposed to some of the best names in theatre, Habib Tanveer and M.K. Raina. She flirted with a job post college, but there was always a niggle at the back of her head. She got through the very difficult and prestigious acting course at FTII, and the rest is history. It has been 9 years since she's been a working actor in the industry. Shayoni, welcome and thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much, Smriti. Oh my God, what a great introduction. Now I have to live up to it. So, no pressure at
You
all.
don't have to live up to anything. You're already living up to what you decided to do, and the way you talk about acting and your craft and how you approach it is just fascinating, and that's what we are here for, Shayoni. So thank you so much for making the time, and thank you for doing industrial strength preparation on this session. We are flattered and completely in awe of the kind of work that you've put in.
Thank you so much. I mean, I hope it's worth, but first of all, I have to thank you, Smriti and Mami, for always championing talent over the years. And for Dial M for Films, what an incredible opportunity for us to even, I have seen most of the sessions, and there is so much that I have been able to retain from each session, and the things that have connected and stuck with me. So thank you for doing this and thank you for making me part of it. And everyone who's watching, guys, thank you. I hope it's going to be worth your time. If not, then don't kill me later. Right at the beginning, I would like to start by saying that through this session, our discussion, Smriti and mine, the idea is to share my notes or share my understanding that I've had over the years. It might work for you, it might not, but these are little things that I have figured out for myself. And it's also an ever evolving process. So I'm not saying I know it all, and it's not an absolute fact. So please don't hold me against it. And I do hope that if you are still grappling with the craft of acting, just like I am, it might help you, whatever in little ways. So let's start, Smriti. Thank you for having me.
I wanted to start with, I truly believe that with all the challenges that we might grapple with in our lives, from where we are sitting, there can be nothing but gratitude. I say this today at
Absolutely.
the start of, your session, because there is an epiphany you had within the first few years of working in
Yes.
Mumbai that has stayed with me.
Yeah. It happened pretty much here, and it happened a few years ago actually. I went to the door to get my grocery, and I took the grocery bag, and I was walking back to the kitchen in my living room in the mid motion. I almost had a like ding, moment, which was really this realization that wait, hang on, I am living in Bombay as a professional actor. And that in itself felt like, oh my God, I am actually living the dream I have had since I was 4 and 5 years old. And the distance I had traversed to come till here, that gave me a lot of gratitude. Yeah? It just made me feel like, no matter where you are in life, and obviously there's so many times you feel, why isn't this and this happening? But just to remember where you've come from, and your journey and everything that you've experienced as a part of it, I think is really something that we should be grateful for. At least I am. And I have to go back to, for that, Smriti, if through my life I hadn't had the kind of influences I had, the kind of teachers, the kind of mentors, enablers, who've enriched not only the craft that I'm, working with at the at the moment, but also my life, and from right at the beginning, as you said, the set of parents I had a very unique, household where my parents were diametrically opposite people. My mother was the straight-jacketed professional woman. Academics was the main focus. But she was the one who put me in a dance school when I was two, not even two. And on the other hand, my father, his sole motto in life was to surround me with all kinds of fine arts and performing arts. I've grown up around music. Every day he would come, and as routine, we would either learn a new song or read plays or short stories or poetry and perform together. So I have really been around performing arts all my life. It's like really in my bloodstream. I can't think of anything else. And
Part
then
of
I
your
had this,
DNA.
it is
It's
part of my DNA. And then films happened. One of my uncles, he had this crazy collection of VHS tapes, and he introduced again me to a lot of world cinema right at the beginning. Like I remember watching films with subtitles at the age of like 8, 9, and I used to hate it. Right, like who wants to, which child wants to watch Shakespeare in like German? And it was a very painful process when it was happening. But in hindsight, I'm so grateful, yeah. And my nanny again, the again it's early on, the people you see, she was a philosopher, and like she would just keep talking about all kinds of scriptures and things, and people would come to listen to her, and people from like various other professions like doctors and writers and all. And she would make me read the Gita very often. So I had like a very unique mix and amalgamation of like culture and art. So I can't live without that kind of mental stimulation. It's just what I need, that kind of inspiration to live. So yeah.
No, this is wonderful. Shayoni, also, when you said that to me, that I had that moment where I just put down my grocery bag and said that, hey, I'm here and I'm a working actor, and I'm so grateful that I get this opportunity to at least chase my dreams. That for me, the lens on struggle, so to speak, is very different. And that probably is also one of the things that propelled you to keep trying harder, because somewhere at the back of your head you knew that if it doesn't work out, then there is always the possibility to do something else. That
Yeah.
but this was one of the things that you are kind of getting an opportunity to fulfill a dream that you have dreamt, so you're giving it a fair shot.
Absolutely. Smriti, I think that realization, and again, I think I'm lucky because that realization came pretty early on. When I was 21, 22, I started working, and that corporate job actually helped me know what I didn't want to do. I knew that if it was about earning money and fending for myself, and that's all I was trying to do at that time to survive and be able to do theater and dance, what I loved, that earning money might not be so difficult. Of course, money is important and survival is very important, but it might not be so difficult given the education I've had. I would be able to figure certain things out. But I felt like I didn't want to be 60 and regret that I should have done something else, and that was eating me from inside. And that's why obviously I went to, an FTII. And I went only because, I wanted to know if I'm cut out for it or not, very simply. Because till then, people I would work with, they would say, oh, you're a natural actor. I didn't know what that meant. What is a natural actor? I didn't know what that, sort of embodies. I needed to know what they meant. I needed to know whether I am good enough for it, at it or not. And again, I was excited to know and learn more about cinema. So FTI really was probably the best decision of my life, and the reason that we are here sitting like this and talking about this, having that conversation. But as you said, Smriti, this struggle, the struggle word that actors tend to use, or in the context of actors finding job, I always feel that your main job as an actor, professional actor, is to look for the job. you know you that's a lifelong challenge, because up until a point, till you have made a name, there are years that you spend just looking for that next job. Where will the next month's rent come from? Where will the money come from? How will I survive? How will I pay my bills? And actors also have to look a certain way. You can't just go, you have to invest in the clothes you wear, you have to, all of that. And it is stressful. But I just feel that if you go out every day, बोल के कि अरे मैं तो बॉम्बे में स्ट्रगल करता हूँ, मैं स्ट्रगल करने जा रहा हूँ. I think, it might just start the day with a defeatist attitude. You are, after all, chasing your dream. Nobody put a gun to your head and said, oh, acting करना ही है, actor बनना ही है, नहीं तो घर मत आना वापस. कोई नहीं बोलता, because everyone has pretty much fought with their family, or they've all had, I'm sure, an avenue to earn money or have a career somewhere else, have a 9 to 5 job, have a normal job which paid you and gave you a salary at the end of the month. But you are here. So I think a little bit of that also, of course, there's rejection, all of that. I will come to that later, which you
Yeah, the
can't.
struggle is real. Yeah,
The
yeah,
struggle
you're
is
right.
real and it's hard. It's a very, very hard thing. But nobody said it's not going to be hard, no? Nobody said it's going to be a rosy. That's what I'm saying, that, that thing realization happened because in spite of all of that, in spite of not having the money in my bank, in spite of not, really trying to figure how the rent is going to come the next month, how will I even reach I remember I was going to the premiere of Margarita with a Straw and I didn't have 500 rupees to, book a cab. I had to go and take that money from my friend who helped me. So you also find friends who will help you. But that thing happened because of that, that listen, wherever I am, this is still something in itself, that I was a child sleeping next to my mother and, and some strange experiences I've had, and since then where I've come, I really feel that there is something to be grateful, whatever it is to.
So, Shayoni, I know that you really value your time at FTI because it did alter a lot of things for you.
Right,
It
right.
changed a lot of things for you, imbibed a work ethic that you are very, very proud of and speak about that often. I just want to find out how did FTI shape you as an actor?
You know, First of all, I went to FTI because I genuinely wanted to know how films were made. And you know this, we all love films, but I had no idea how films were made. I didn't know what editing was, for example. I remember the first time I went to FTI and we used to shoot on film, and I saw the film and there was like negative and positive and emulsion. I was like, oh my God, this is science, there's so much work that goes in. But as a viewer, even if you love films, you didn't know that. And that's the kind of knowledge that I was seeking. And more than knowledge, the know-how, how films are made. And of course, FTI teaches you multiple things, like camera and lensing and art direction, sound design, production design, costumes, all of that. But I think the biggest realization for me, what happened at FTI, was that an actor does not live in isolation. An actor is part of the bigger machinery. An actor is part of the mise en scene. And again, not to throw jargons, but mise en scene by definition, and I quote, is the stage design and arrangement of actors and scenes for a theatre or film production, both in visual arts through storyboarding, visual themes, cinematography, and in narrative storytelling through direction. So everything you're seeing in this frame, for example, me sitting in this blue thing, this brown couch, this cabinet, these paintings, these plants, everything, you as my co-actor in this scene, Priti, how the light is falling on my face, how the light is falling on my face, if the camera will move at all when it starts moving, everything is part of the mise en scene. And an actor is a live part of that dynamic frame. So you are as important as somebody who's decided that this couch is going to be brown and somebody who's put it in the right way, who's put the light. So that collaborative spirit of the films and filmmaking is something that I realized, and it is probably the biggest realization I have had, because that teaches you to value rigor of every discipline. That you can't come on a set and be like, oh, actor aa gaya, tum actor ho, kaam karo, ghar jao, like everyone is doing, you're not special. Of course, there are people, if you're in continuity, you might become indispensable, but, or a director or the HODs, but that this collaborative spirit of filmmaking is something that charges me, and for example, if I can give a small example, I used to assist a lot, okay, back in FTI, and I was assisting Pratik Bhatt, who's the director of E Baleo, And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I also, little plug in, if you haven't seen Ibalu, whoever hasn't, please watch it. It's brilliant. But so
Plug
I was
away.
so I was holding a glass sheet for, and I was part of the art department, and my actually batchmate Trishan, who's a casting director now, he was the actor, and the camera was behind me, and the focus was going on Trishan through that glass. So that focal focus was very critical. So I'm holding the glass like that, and you're not able to breathe because the moment I do this, my hand is moving and the focus is changing. So I'm sitting there, for like almost a couple of hours, not able to breathe in a cramped environment, which is when I realized that, boss, it's a lot of hard work people are doing to make you look good. That everyone's working so hard so that you look right and you look good. And once you're on the other side of things, you realize how much work actually goes in. And I have to give credit to FTI to that. And having said that, because you're an actor, you would come in to this space with your moment of truth that we will come to soon. And through your, what do you bring in, your tool is your body, your mind and your body, right? Somebody said back then that everything in the frame are still machines. The actor is the only person or people who is not a machine. This is your tool, right? Your mind, everything, the back of your mind, your memory, your association, your observations, your personality, your experiences, they're all what makes you. And of course your body, sab purja kaam karne chahiye, because this is your machine. So that understanding, and that you come in as part of the collaboration and cannot live in isolation. And also smaller things, like I came from a proscenium space. I've always been a performer, so I was used to the stage, for example. And in a proscenium setup, the audience is seeing you through one lens. It's a long shot, wide frame. They are not going into the close up of your eye and all of that. But in camera, the acting becomes slightly different because now it's a machine or a medium, which is the camera, that's reading you. So that's when lensing comes in. And that is a very critical understanding that I have had. It helped me. For example, if I am in a wider frame, uh, you are able to see me, but I can come into a mid shot or a mid close up or a close up or just my eyes. So that is lensing. I mean, it's a very badly way of doing. It's actually, the frame is not changing. And, if to know that, and you can also ask, sometimes when the focus is going to be critical, you can ask the focus puller or somebody that, if it's 100 or a 75 lens, for example. So if it's 100, the focus is so critical that even if you go aage or piche, you're going out of the focal plane, because this is the focal plane, for example. So you can't do this movement. You can do this movement. So those small things are things that make you more aware. And again, these are not things to make you more conscious. Not to be like, oh my God, 100 hai, kya karu? But, if you know that the focus is going to shift, it's a handheld shot or the shot is in movement, you would wake up slower. If it's a wide shot, I can just get up like that and I will still be in focus. So those little understanding just helps you become a little more aware. And I have to say this, that I love working with DOPs. And I think, again, one of those realizations I've had during FTI is that the cinematographer is the first person who's seeing your performance. And even before the director, most times, because he's seeing it through the viewfinder, unless the director, is shooting it, in sometimes like Anurag Basu shoots it. So that connect, and especially, when you shoot in like handheld or cramped spaces, sometimes getting that rhythm right is so crucial. And it's really like a dance of tango. I mean, obviously you're not holding hands, but it's almost, and for Hungry, for example, in Hungry, there is this one bathroom scene where I'm completely battered and I'm crawling, and we are in the bathroom. And I swear it was just Nick, who's this DOP, and the way he does handle, he holds the camera and he's almost like playing violin. He just like moves with the camera like that. It's beautiful to watch, him. And we were just two people. And the moment I would like move a little, his camera would move, or he would like, I could sense, I was not looking at him, but I could sense he would move. And so it's almost like you become one organism. And that's a beautiful feeling. And that rhythm is something that you can work off each other. Again, how collaboration makes it, that moment even more special.
No, but how lovely, because you know what I've come away with from what you've said is that knowledge of collaborators, what collaborators do, and being on the other side of the fence empowers you. It is not to make
Yes.
you conscious, it empowers you, because then you can dance with that. It enhances your performance because you know exactly what is going on and you can adapt to that, as opposed to working in isolation. So the beautiful thing is that FTI did that for you. And if an actor has not gone to FTI, then these are things that you can actually learn on set
On the
and be
job.
interested in, and be interested
Absolutely.
in. And it would only enrich you. The other thing that I wanted to ask you was that since you went to FTI and you assisted, you made sure that you did the grunt work, and you also realized important things about how you can collaborate with people to bring out your skills. What did process, because there's a lot of theory that you learn when you're at FTI doing a course. How did, like, what did you learn about process and what did it come to mean for you?
So, first of all, before I go into that, Smriti, I think you really have hit it, because, it's not like you only have to go to a film school to learn these things. These are things that, and like Nasir used to say, and Nasir's name would keep coming through this session, and I'm really sorry, I don't mean to name
Because he's
drop.
an influence. No, it's okay. Please
He
name drop. He's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to give credit where it's due, and he has had a huge influence on the clarity and, whatever little clarity or whatever understanding I've had over the years. So Nasir used to say that acting can't be taught, it can be learned. But I think that's true for everything. If you have the willingness to learn, no matter where you are, you will learn. That's why I think I'm grateful that I had a space to learn it. But you can totally learn on the job. There are people who don't go to any school and are terrific actors, and they know it all, and they are amazing with their process and craft. So this is not to take away at all. Coming to process, so first of all, I have to say that, acting for me is a constant exploration. It's a constant journey. It's a lifelong curve where there is just so much to figure out and so much to explore that it's unending. As you used to say that it takes only after 30 years you become an actor. So I don't know if 30 years, 30 years seems like a really long time. But having said that, they've done, Waiting for Godot a play for 40 years. So who knows? But, if you speak to the greatest actors in the world, whoever you think are great actors, if you see the interviews, I don't think any of them would be like, "Arey, mujhe aa gaya hai. I have figured it out," because the more you do, and it's in the doing, the more you do, the more you realize there is an ocean of more things to be explored and understood and discover. And that sort of also gives fire to the hunger, because the more you know, it's like a gold mine. The more you dig in, the more you find. And that's why whatever is, so it's a pursuit for me. And so whatever little bit of understanding I've had is something that I have figured through the work I have done, through the collaborations I've had, through what I have sort of gone out there, done it, and some certain things have worked, certain things haven't worked. Even that is important to figure what works for you. So process to me, it's a big word, right? But to understand process, we need to go back to that age-old question of what is acting. Process एक तरीका है. It's your methodology. But acting is, in my mind, getting to that moment of truth. However you get there. For example, if we are having this...
No, but Shalini, sorry to interrupt you, but what is the moment of truth?
That's what. So, for example, we are having this conversation, right? So I am saying this sentence for the first time, it's coming out of my mouth. But even if I have to say it the 10th time or the 15th time in a take, it should sound as if it's the first time it's coming out of my mouth. as if it has to retain that freshness, that, and this is again talking about realism, in realistic acting, that elasticity, it's as if the spontaneity of it, that is the moment of truth. If somebody from the side now, calls out and is like, yaar kya bakwas kar raha hai, and I turn and I'd be like, okay, 1 second. So I would respond to that person, right? That response, even if I do it in the 15th take, should feel like I am hearing it for the first time. And whatever my response is, I was like, "Arey, baith jana yaar, karne dena baat." Whatever it is I'm saying, that has to be, it should feel like it's happening for the first time. And every small moment that you feel, it should feel truthful. And however you get there, however closest you come there, is your process. Nobody can tell you this is right or this is wrong. Whatever your process is, and you will arrive at that through the work you will do through the practice. Like, for example, like I would want to quote Nasreen Munni Kabir, said in Shakun Batra's session, which is, it's an art to hide art. So whatever your process is, your backstory, whatever homework, all of that is backstage. When you come on the floor, when you're on set, when you're doing it, then don't bring all that baggage. Because if you've done the work, it'll all come to you. Automatically, it'll come to you, and then it becomes effortless. Then the effort doesn't show, because if it does, then it might break the suspension of disbelief. It might be less convincing for the audience. And I am a big believer of, if you feel it, it will show. You don't have to underline it. You don't have to do it. But so, for example, Coffee and Cigarettes has one of my most favorite actors, Cate Blanchett. Here, Kate, he plays the twins. It's one actor playing two diametrically opposite characters. Their being is different. The way they talk is different. They're totally different. When you see this, Smriti, and I've seen it so many times, you can't pinpoint the effort there. You can't pinpoint a process. But I know for a fact that there's so much work that must have gone in. But it's so seamless. It's so effortless. And I feel that is the work to make it just makhan, just let it flow. You do so much work in the back that once you're there, it flows, and of course, when you go to a school to study, for example, and this is not to throw jargons, because, one of the biggest things that I used to find problematic while in FTI was, I spent 3.5 years there, more than most of which was an acting class. And I used to, although we had amazing teachers, I used to always feel that acting itna hawa kyun lag raha hai? Itni badi cheez to nahi hai. People, there's so many big words, jargon, method, process, big names. And I was like, yaar, mujhe to bahut simple cheez lagti hai. And that's why Nasir will always be that one person, because when he came to take the class, in the first 5 minutes, he said something very simple, which stuck. And that's what I was saying, something somebody says will stick to you. And when he said that, it's really getting to that truth, that truthfulness, being in the moment. And then I was like, then it was like, tongue, another. And I was like, yaar, yahi to mujhe lag raha tha, shayad main, maybe I was on the right path. So, in acting school, because you're studying so many techniques, you're studying different schools of acting, starting from Stanislavski, which is internal, which they call method, which is going from the psyche of the character, the internal, the backstory, where she's coming from, where it's happening, how it's happening, where is it set. From there, you go into the physicality, the physical form of the character, which is body language, gesticulation, all of that. Then there's Grotowski, which is, physical theater, where you come from the spine, the breathing, and then you come to the internal psyche of the character. So it's outer to inner. And then, of course, you have Stella Adler, you have Meisner, you have clowning, you've done all of that. But, the debate of whether this is right or whether that is right, I feel there can't be a debate, It's different schools. You figure what works for you. It's your process. And I feel for me, it's always been a mix of everything. It's never only this is working. It's different and unique. Every new time you deal with a character, or you're, biting into a new script or new text, every scene, you will have to do something else that, you have learned from somewhere else. So it's really a mix, and it's absolutely unique each time you do it. So I don't think process is something that we need to mystify. It's cutting it down, feeling it, it's, and you know, through all of this, and as I said, that, you know, instinct is a big part of who you are, right? So the process will also help you sharpen the instinct in many ways.
No, but what I also believe that what learning the rules or learning the
Yeah.
ropes does for you is that you can't break the rules or use them to your advantage if you don't know them. So it's a
Yes.
beautiful thing to kind of get to know what are the different ways that exist,
Yeah.
and then find your feet
Yeah.
in terms of what you can do and what works for you. Going back to something that you said, Shayoni, which I hear very often, which is natural acting. The thing is that
It's so funny.
you've also often described yourself, when people, when they write about you, they say that she's a natural actor, relies heavily on instinct. Now the thing is, the common misconception, at least 20 years ago that was there, a common misconception is that instinct and spontaneity sort of mean like you're winging it. You arrive on
Right.
set and you just do something. What
Right.
is instinct, considering the fact that you're one actor who's always said that I rely heavily on it? What constitutes that? How did you arrive at your own method, and recognize that as a mixture of instinct and work and experience and memory? Speak a little bit about that.
By the way, I still don't know what a natural actor is. I haven't yet figured it out.
Well, that's you.
but I mean, if whoever's watching, if you know the definition, please send it across to Vani or me. But you know, instinct, Smriti, and you rightly said that, you know, you might understand as instinct as, you know, just winging it, or what do we understand by instinct or spontaneity? I feel instinct is a feeling, you know, it's your gut. It's this thing that it's telling you. And I don't think a performer is anything without his or her instinct. Because starting from when you choose a script or a film, that also you are coming somewhere from your instinct, you know, something inside of you is taking you there, attracting you to that project or that story, you know. Then when you know, go into working on the text or the character, from how you pitch the character, the sur of the character, आपका tonality क्या होगा उस character का, बात कैसे करेगा, उसका rhythm क्या होगा बात करने का, all of this in the bigger picture and the smaller nuances within scenes is all instinct, you know. But instinct, as I said, is something that can be sharpened, and that only is honed when you have done the work. So when you know where the character is coming from, when you know what's happening to her, when you know what is happening in the scene, in the graph of the story, what the director wants to evoke through this moment or the scene or the larger story, it will help to push your instinct out in the right direction. You can't, it's not a fluke. It might happen by fluke once or twice, but you can't rely on a fluke, you know. It's something that
Exactly.
can be worked upon. For example, if I may cite an example, I'm sorry guys, I don't mean to be narcissistic, but
The
but
session is about you. So you can
sorry, it's
please go
so
ahead.
much.
This is your moment. Go for it.
Thank you. So, you know, in Jolly LB2, where I play Hina Siddiqui, right? Now, Hina is a person who is fighting for her husband's justice. He's been encountered. She's 8 months pregnant. She's, you know, toiling, going to courts, getting people to fight for her and her cause and her husband's justice, but she's not, you know, she's really hopeless, and she's fatigued and tired, and sorry, she's toiling. And you know, it's there's something called emotional memory in acting, where you go back to your own real life to figure out your own memory. And I've never really understood it very well in class. And you know, when I say for Hina, was I ever pregnant? No, I wasn't. Was I married, you know, with a deceased husband? No. But did I see a woman who was tired and fatigued and fending for herself, trying to bring up a child, you know, and pushing and struggling and fighting every day? I did. So when my mother saw the film, and this is again, I did not see this coming at all. My mother saw the film, and she's somebody who never says anything nice after watching my film for work. But she saw it, and she turned the first reaction. She turned around after the during the credits, and she looked at me and she's like, "You are me." I said, "What?" It's like you're playing me in there. You're walking like me. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that I'd borrowed from her. I had borrowed how I had seen her, my memories from my childhood. I'd borrowed from her being, how she walked, how she would come back with like drooping shoulders, tired, fatigued from work, come and, having to pull me from crash, take me, cook for me. She was raising me single-handedly. I have seen that. And to go there, of course, it's your memory and your association that have instinctively pushed you in that direction. That was a big realization for me. In Champa, for example, in Parched, there was one moment where I start, in the first rehearsal, I had let out a howl, like a guttural wail. And Sumit Vyas, who was my co-actor, he came to me, and Sumit is very funny, okay, and he looked like a little disturbed, and he was just like thrown off a little bit, and he's like, "तूने कैसी आवाज निकाली यार? कैसी आवाज निकाली तूने?" And I was like, I hadn't planned it, but that wail instinctively came because I knew what was happening to this person. She was being taken away. She was crying. It was almost like the last cry out to live. Again, coming back to Jolly in that scene, I had told production to keep, give me some things in my bag, like a banana or a small tiffin box or, some water, because, given she's pregnant and she's doing, running around, she would want me to feed through the day. So, and in the scene when I'm there, I started like throwing these things at, Akshay's character, and it wasn't a planned thing, but it just, in that line where I say that, insaf chahiye, nyay chahiye, de sakte ho, par ye bhi le lo, ye bhi le lo, it's like almost take everything I bloody have, even this bloody banana, take it, So that was an instinctive thing, and that happened and helped in puncturing those lines, in taking those pauses, in getting the accent. Like even in the end of the scene, she says, and thankfully the editor and the director, they have kept it, where there were a lot of junior artists, some 200, 250 people, and they were just standing and staring, right? And in that moment, I felt like saying, "Khade khade kya dekh rahe, jaiye na." But again, that's an instinctive thing. It's almost like an improvised thing, but it worked because I was in the moment. That's why it was truthful. Then she turns around and walks away again. Negi sir, who's the DOP, and Subhash sir, they continue to roll the camera. When you see her from the back, you see how helpless she is. And she's just like going away. She's left everything. So these are the instincts that, I can talk about only from the work I have done and when I have faced it, that if you come from a studied place, if you come from a preparedness, more than it bogging you down, it actually helps realize certain reflexes that will automatically come because your head space is there. It's in your back. You are not confused about where am I standing, what am I feeling, where am I coming from, where am I going, where is the story progressing, because that's also important. Where is this scene being juxtaposed? And that basic awareness, again, Smriti, I feel that an actor is not insular. Those instincts will also come when you keep your eyes and minds open and just observe people. A lot of people, lot of stories, what's happening around you socio-politically. These are things that will give you certain things to do. वो अंदर से आता है. So yeah.
You're so right, Shayoni, because the thing is, and it applies to, of course, it applies to acting. It applies to any job that if you are not prepared, if you don't do your homework, if you don't do diligent work, and also one of the actors that I deeply admire, Jaideep Ahlawat, had said that,
Yes.
he literally drinks up the text before he goes to set. So he's not, you're not learning text, you're not understanding the character when you get to set. And that frees you, because then you can, there is scope for spontaneity, there is scope for other things, because आपने अपना बेसिक होमवर्क किया हुआ है, तो वो रिगर के बिना नहीं आएगा, स्पॉन्टेनिटी,
Yeah.
इंस्टिंक्ट कुछ नहीं होगा. Which also brings me to the characters that you've played. Khanum in Margarita with a Straw, Hina in Jolly LLB, Champa in Parched, Gora in Article 15. You played a host of characters from different milieus. What kind of work do you do to make these characters authentic to the world that they belong to?
Wow. So, again, my first go-to where you start your, when you open a book, you start by reading a preface, right? Or, whatever your process is. But I feel that getting into any character or understanding of the character has to come from knowing your script inside out. And there is no better way to say this, like quoting Nasir again. Read your lines, and don't bump into the furniture. That if you know your text well, and every good script, every good text will have everything you need to know about your character and what's happening in the story. The more you read it, the more you will discover between lines, between words. So there is, and again, something that Jaideep had said, Smriti, after Patal Lok, I remember he said that, kya kaam kiya, some asked him, and he was like, yeah, maine bas script padhi. इतना पढ़ा उसको मेमोराइज कर लिया and I knew everything that happened, so by the time I actually went on set I kept it aside. And that's what that rigor of reading and reading and reading and reading and learning the lines and learning the script, learning your co-actors lines, not just your highlighted lines. Know the script inside out so that you can play, as you said, when you go on set, when you have that preparedness, you can just play. Because when you know the script, you also know the character's journey, the psyche of the character, the internal everything that is happening in the mind of the character, and you can play with it. The second thing I would like to come to is part of my work, the work I do. It might work for you again, and I do not again mean to sound like mystified or anything. It's a work that I do, and I'm trying to put it like simply, if I can, in to the best of my ability. It is spine. First being the script, the second being the spine work, which is actually, it comes from the Grotowski method. But there's this teacher who came to teach us called John Bashford. He came for 1 day workshop, but he said something that again stuck with us. It was a very, very useful exercise. He said that any character in the world, any character you take, will come under 7 spines. Spine is your backbone, the posture, right? And the spine in itself affects the breathing. So when you're, say, for example, you're slouching, your breathing is efforted. When you're relaxed with the spine, your breathing is relaxed. When you're like that, your breathing is even more affected. And that's going to, in turn, again, I'm simplifying it. That in turn is going to affect the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you sit, everything, the posture. He says that, the 7 characters being from 1 to 10, going from the lowest to the highest of status. So first is beggar, then you have the low class employee, the middle class employee, the high class employee, the blue collar job. Then you have the police officer, then you have the politician, then the king. Now this is a classical example, right? It's a classical way of looking at this, but you can apply this in your modern characters as well. I mean, these days I feel that, we don't have kings, but, probably they are, politicians who are, at that time, but they either are going from their, tummy, because either you're walking like that or you're walking like that. So, and it's fascinating to study it, but honestly, for example, if we have, a girl who's a professional, who's a corporate person, okay, she goes to work, her spine would be erect, her shoulders will be square. She would beam of confidence, she would be assured, her head would be held high. So when she walks into her office, she will have that stance, which is the spine, When, say, she comes home really tired, she's tired, so she can't slouch. She doesn't have to be there. So that scene change will affect how she is with the spine, right? If she's going on a date, okay, Bumble date. Now she's back erect. Yeah. She's back erect. again, and her back is erect, and she might be like, have a little bit of a neck turn, to be flirtatious and looking. So everything affects. So, when you come to Gora, for example, Gora is somebody who is fighting for her sister's just. She's looking for her sister. She's trying to figure if, she can put an end to this atrocity meted out against her community, the Dalit community, and all of that. So she, because she's from there, she would sit in haunches. People from, say, a certain community, like rural areas, for example, they would sit like that. Okay, she would walk really fast because she has an urgent immediacy and urgency to find the sister. She's very fast paced. She's fighting, but her morale is not down. She's brave. So she always has her chin up. She's always willing to fight, but she's relaxed only the time she's sitting with Nishad in that scene. That then she's let go. She is there. She's just trying to be motherly in that moment, and she's trying to be there as a lover, as a friend, all of that. So then it's a more relaxed spine, right? Again, the only, I mean, when she is, she comes running out when Nishad is being taken away, for example. She is running like her life depended on it. But the moment the car goes, you know that she's lost hope. She knows he's not coming back. Nothing she can do. So she's like lungs down, she's just like left it. And those are, again, working coming from the spine. Upasana in Akhune, she walks really fast. She's trying to get a lot done. Okay, and she's a people pleaser. She lacks confidence. So although she lacks confidence, she is very intimidated by Chanbi. So her fingers, if you see, they're constantly doing things by themselves. She also doesn't realize it, but she's actually doing that to muster more courage. She's like, "Arey bapre, abhi kya bolu, kaise bolu?" How to put my foot down. And because she lacks confidence, her chin is down and she's looking up like that. She's trying to like engage, like that. But she has a spine erect. She doesn't. But so those are the small things. Again, Hina, she.
Can we call spine body language? Do you work on?
So body language comes from spine. Body language, the spine decides where the body language is going. For example, in Hina, if she is walking in a certain way or standing in a certain way, she is 8 months pregnant. Now, not all pregnant women has the hand on the tummy all the time. But if she is going, in public places, she's, strutting around, and, she will have to protect and support the tummy. And also it's almost like symbol of protection, that she is trying to protect this baby. So those, and then the body language changes, like Damini, her spine is like erect like a bamboo. But when she comes back home, it sort of shrinks like that. She comes back home, she has OCD, she has clinical OCD, she's very, very complex. So the demeanor will change,
Damini for example, very well in Corona times. She's got
absolutely. I have the same gloves, by the way, now in Orange. But like Rohini, for example, she's going from her head. She's an analyst. She's constantly talking numbers. She is somebody who is cerebral, so she would walk in that same way. Now coming to Khanum, which was probably the biggest challenge in the work that one has done. Khanum's biggest thing was the disability. She was specially able, and that changes everything. That is not a reality that I have had growing up or in my life, so that one had to embody. Now for a sighted person, Smriti, everything that we remember are visual references. The biggest part of our memory are visuals. So when you see this frame, this blue, you will know this brown, or the, green happening in this frame, you will remember this frame. When I look at you, I will remember you in this black. So those references are very difficult to cut out were very difficult for me to cut out. And that's why while I was auditioning, Nasir had given me this exercise of living with the blindfold. So I would do all my daily chores with the blindfold just to be able to see myself in the space without having to see them. So, hold the furniture, know how things are happening, take the shower, start to cook. all of those things. And then of course, I went and after I auditioned for a month, and then finally, thankfully, I got the part. And once I did, they had told me that they were already in Delhi, and they had told me, Shonali and Nilesh, that you figure it out, you go to a school, you figure it out what we can do, in terms of props, and in like, it's your engagement. And of course, I went to a blind school where I literally learned, a little bit, the know-how of Braille. But these schools, mind you, they actually teach people who are either blind from birth, or they have lost their sight at some point in their lives. So they teach you every skill, how you walk, that when you walk with the cane, which is you put the cane on the other side and put the other foot forward, those kind of small, small things. Your everything from cooking, all of that, right? And the most important thing that I realized while playing Khanom was that everything is either the sense of touch, through the sense of touch, or the sense of hearing. So the people I met were girls at the hostel in Bombay. And these were really spunky women, they were so assured of themselves. Madhubala, who's this woman, she was at a really high paying job, high post in a corporate job in IBM. And they all, once I got into their world, I realized that it is my assumption that people who can't see live in a certain way. There is no difference. There is not a single moment where it feels like they are losing out on something. They are not. When one sensory doesn't work, you're compensated by your other sensories. And the way you can figure space and touch and energies, and hearing, you figure that, nothing. Like, I remember going to Madhubala's house, and, I saw her. She was married to a guy who couldn't see, but she had a child who could see. And she flung the child, he was 5 years old, she flung him and like caught him. And I skipped a beat. I was like, what is she doing? But it was totally normal. And she would literally show me how she had kept her clothes folded, how she kept her things in the kitchen, which actually the art department used. So these are things that I feel that observation also teaches you with the spine work and the body language. It's not, again, none of this work is in isolation, it's all together. It's this and that. Then again, something that, the third thing, so there's text, there's spine, and the third thing for me that helps me is props and costume. I think costume is something that gives you affects you immediately. In Jagga, for example, where I play this 14-year-old Manipuri girl, Dada literally called me on set, and they gave me clothes. They didn't even have my measurements. They had cast somebody earlier who was a real 14-year-old girl, and they gave me the clothes, and thankfully I fit into them. And these are the clothes. So the moment I got into that shirt and a half sweater and these, Bermudas or, whatever, literally half pant, I've cut a pant into half and put it. And I just knew that I wanted to, I cut my hair. I insisted that we cut the hair. We did it on set, had the 2 pigtails. I didn't have to do anything. Trust me, Smriti, it just immediately just gave me that, like that thing of like, being this 50%, that energy, and it affected my spine.
With the 14-year-old.
Yes, and that affected, so the costumes affected the spine, which in turn affected the gesticulation or the body language or the physicality of the character, right? Even in Jolly, again, Hina's character, and Veere, again, fabulous costume designer and her team. We actually had discussions, and this is again, I love collaborating, and there are a lot of people who want to collaborate also, they want to know where you're coming from. And we had conversations, and we figured that we need probably pastel shades, lighter shades, floral prints. And that actually made me feel softer and more motherly and mellow in those parts. So I think costume makes a huge difference. Footwear, in that scene, I say that meri idiya ghis gayi hai. And it's a line that I came up with in a rehearsal that I was doing by myself, and that imagery of area ghis jana, that chappals, I could almost see a, maroon color chappal that's tattered and eroded in the end, and that's probably eaten into her own heels also. So footwear again is something that I feel changes your stance, your stride, those kind of things are very, very important. Again, props, for by now, and my classmates from FTI who are watching this now, they must be laughing their heads off because I've been obsessed with art direction, okay? And it came probably because I used to assist Lakshmi Kiloskar, who's a fantastic production designer. She's done Dangal and, Bareli Ki Barfi, Chichore, etc. So I used to assist her back then in FTI. And there's so much innovation that I learned from her. So even in the classroom, Smriti, I would bring in, like for an exercise, I would bring in the whole prop section, okay? So from almaris, cupboards, beds, paintings like this only, I would put everything, my things from my home, and people would make, like all my classmates, they used to make so much fun of me. I used to art direct every corner for me because, as I said, that an actor is part of the mise en scene, I am part of the environment, the environment is also affecting me. So it's all in sync. And I think that has helped me in bringing out little nuances. For example, the plastic bag
In Article 15, that,
yeah.
that that was really hunted for.
So
But
I
it's lovely. I mean, you have to do this. I mean, one of the things that I really, really want people to go away with, or whenever they're watching the session, or whenever they see this, is that really there is no substitute for hard work. You can, of course, you can choose what your engagement needs to be. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're saying, that you're interested in props and costumes and the text and everything. I mean, look at the kind of work that goes into this. So, you are
Right.
really the person who decides how they want to engage, and there's no, and it shows. Like it will
Absolutely. But
always show when you have worked.
absolutely, but Smriti, and the last point is really, I mean, in that milieu question, that all of these things also come from the life you lead and the observations, engagements, awareness you have as a person. Because as an actor, you are merely embodying different characters, people from different walks of life, different milieus, different socio-economic background. What do we understand by milieu? That, right? Now to have that might not come overnight. It might, but it also helps when you are in sync. So if I had to play a Gora, I wasn't waking up to that reality of a community through the work, not the work, like through the awareness. I already know what is happening, the politics of the Dalit community, so that is something, again for Hina, again for Upasana. These are people that you already know of through your news articles, just by keeping your ears and eyes open. So that way we need to constantly know the world we live in, because you can't, in order to see, embody characters, you have to take it from the people in real life, and there is no two ways about it. So when it comes to milieu, I think one of the biggest things is, of course, the hard work, and there is no substitute for that. But it does help if you are engaged with observing and being privy to what is happening around you in the world, and in the environment, in the socio-political environment around you.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, Shayoni, because the thing is that if you are playing different characters, if you're an actor, how can you not be politically aware, as in socio-politically aware as to what
Absolutely.
is happening? Because if you're playing a character, I mean, the thing is the internal workings of the characters come from the environment and what the reality that they're living. If you don't know the realities of what various people, the lives that they lead, then you're at a loss. You'll have to read 50 books and the character would just go away. Anyways, I can, you and I can talk endlessly about this, but coming to politics, or what is happening around us right now, the discourse in the industry is really toxic. It is, yes, there is an urgent need to look at how the industry works, and to kind of think about what can be achieved, how can we change things, but that can't be achieved through vitriolic. It cannot become a lynch mob, and then and people cannot do this whole blame game. So nobody is looking, they're not looking inwards at all. But what are the things, like as an artist who's been around for, 9 years, or I would actually say 10, because, September 2010 is when you actually passed out of FTI
No,
and came to
2011,
Mumbai.
2011.
2011
Huh.
is when you did that. what are the things that you would like to see change that might have made your journey easier? Like when you look back right now, Shayoni, what are the things that you feel? I mean, I'm not talking about the hard work and everything, but I'm just talking about systemically what could possibly change about the industry that might have made it easier for you to traverse this world.
I mean, again, of course, I am part of the system, but I would like to see change in the system in itself, and not just talking about myself. And I have to begin, and again, I completely agree with you, Smriti. There is no point of vitriolics. It has never brought in any progress. So the idea is to, again, look inwards and see what we are doing, where we are coming from. And first things first, Smriti, writers have to be given their due. You cannot expect good cinema without giving credit where it's due, because writing is the backbone. It's the spine. We are talking so much about spine. It's the spine of your script. It's the spine of your film. You can't have a good film, an original idea, an inventive, innovative idea without giving writers their respect, the dignity, and paying them. If you want to make, it's part of the business module, right? That you have to invest in the in the innovation of it, in the and when you're building, if it's a building, you're building the foundation. If the foundation isn't strong, which is the writing, the building will collapse, yeah, or it will come crashing down, or it'll be weak and will have cracks. So writers have to, everything we do is going to be pointless without the writers getting their due. And again, this whole thing, that something that has started recently, is credit de do, and give credit, because if you respect talent, you wouldn't become a smaller person if you gave credit, and because it's talent after all. And that, I think, is, and when you start valuing talent, and that I say with myself and my peers, my friends, be it actors, writers, technicians, directors, I wish there was a little more dignity and a little more value that was given to people and their talent and their worth and their time, because that makes a big difference in the general space that you create. Because if you want a truly collaborative space, you also have to make it a fertile, positive environment, and that will only come from basic respect. And I always, this hierarchy on sets is something that has always disturbed me, honestly. This whole thing of A team, B team, the catering is different. I always feel that, why is the light boy eating different food than me, the actor? Why do we do this? Why do we look at people with a different lens? We are all working together to make this. And of course, your HODs are important, your actors are important, which is fine. But why will you? And I always feel that actors like us, and a lot of people, you can work in projects that pay you less. We all do. But if there is no respect, if you don't give respect, and if you don't feed people well, then there is no point. As Indians, we like to eat well and we treated well. Then the jaan we hazir hai bhai. There's anything to make us do, we're going to do it with a smile. And lastly, I just feel that an art or art can flourish where there are patrons of talent. And again, the recent, we are so proud of Chaitanya Tamhane and what's happening to his film. But without a Vivek Gombar, a Chaitanya wouldn't exist. And this is taking from what he said in the interview, right? So when you want, you can't complain of, oh, the films are being bad, or the film's not doing well. It's something that you have to work towards also. You have to encourage each other, have to critique each other, have that positive criticism, but also push each other up, pull each other. And that's why I have so much respect and love for Mami Smriti and for you, because you guys have been doing that for years, and I have seen that in very close quarters. And that is the environment I wish that there was going forward.
No, lovely. I think credit and dignity and kindness. Tapsi Pannu was just on the show, and she said that if the feedback can be just kinder, it's not as if I don't want to know where I'm going wrong, or I don't want to be criticized, but is it possible for people to say it in a way that it doesn't completely crush your spirit.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because
yeah,
the intent cannot be that. Or
yeah.
Bijoy Nambiar's whole session was about the spirit of collaboration. That
Yes,
if you're
yes,
collaborating, then you also have to collaborate on giving people the credit that, you know, this is what they've done.
yes.
So the very idea that lyricists and script writers and you know, musicians and other people who are cardinal, I mean, I think everyone's cardinal, but for them to fight to get their names up there, it's very tragic. You know,
It is very
moving
tragic.
to
Yeah.
it's really tragic. Moving to your journey, what has been the hardest thing for you to overcome or come to terms with in the industry?
You know, if I say this answer this honestly, I will seem like I'm coming from a high-handed place, and I don't mean to, but there's probably no milder way of putting it. What actually bothers me the most is the celebration of mediocrity. You know, I feel that there has to be a stronger pursuit for excellence, you know, and nobody has said that. And again, it comes back from valuing talent. You know, when you value talent, and it's from the intent, right? Why is somebody telling this story? Why are you making this film? And of course, you know, filmmaking is a business. You have to have, you know, have to earn money. It's the sustenance, means to sustenance and livelihood for thousands of people who work in films, you know. So, of course, but nobody said that you can't make a good film, but a commercially successful film also at the same time. You know, it's not this or that. And that I feel has to come from the intent and valuing and knowing that you want to do it. You know, today I don't think, Smriti, that there is a justification. There can be a justification for bad craft. You know, given the talent and the money and the technology you have at hand, the craft can be bad. Yeah, क्राफ्ट तो मतलब तो बेसिक चीज है ना. फिर आप बाकी चीजें करेंगे, आप स्टोरी टेलिंग पे फोकस करेंगे, आप यू नो वट एवर दैट मैजिक इज. And that magic is real, you know, when it happens, when that collaborative spirit comes together, and it's not a mystical, it's very tactile. You feel it, everyone feels it. Yeah, everyone, like you feel like hugging each other. You And that's the hunger for which you go on set every day. सुबह उठ के आप काम पे जाते हैं वही मैजिक फील करने के लिए कि यार आज शायद हो जाए. आप यू नो दैट्स व्हाट यू थिंक. वो कभी कभी होता है, बहुत कम होता है, but when it happens, it makes everything else, all your struggle and toiling and whatever you want to call it, worth it. And that, you know, that push for excellence, I feel, is something that I really would want to see, you know. And it's possible. You have had in recent years, you had a Gully Boy, you have a Kapoor and Sons and Andhadhun, you know, so many terrific films that have been good films that were made that have been successfully you know, also loved by the audience. I feel that, you know, an art film doesn't have to be arty, or what people think of arty films, although I like arty films, but it doesn't have to be boring, yeah. It can be
And
very
arty films are
engaging.
not boring. Arty films is
Exactly.
all about, I mean, we are all about the independent cinema. They're not boring at all. It's just that
Again,
there are these perceptions that people have. And the thing is,
exactly.
I've noticed 5 years working in Mami that because people don't have access to these films, and Shayoni, you're in a fair amount of, you know, you've maintained a balance between doing independent films and then also studio-led films. I mean, we can go on and talk about all the different you know, because people feel that independent cinema is about the story, but it's also about the funding. Like, you
Yes,
call it an independent film because it's not backed by a studio. It's not because
exactly.
independent, we've taken a boring story and said, चलो बनाते हैं वो वाली कहानी जो कोई नहीं देखेगा. You know, it doesn't come from that space.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so basically, the thing is that you know, that I also, the reason I was smiling was because I remembered you telling me once that somebody called you into their office and then they said that जितनी एक्टिंग तुम्हें आती है उतनी तो चाहिए भी नहीं. वो what kind of, like, you don't want to talk about it, we can let it go, but it was like, it's so offensive, the very fact that you are telling an artist that एक काम करो, पहले से ही काम अपना थोड़ा सा कम कर लो क्योंकि नहीं चाहिए, हमें चाहिए नहीं कि तुम एफर्ट भी करो.
I don't think he was not coming from there. You know, he was actually trying to probably in the garb of this line, तुम्हें जितनी acting आती है उतनी तुम्हें चाहिए भी नहीं, तुम्हें बस बिकनी पहनना और अच्छा दिखना है. So I think it's garb
Wow,
of
the story keeps on getting better.
yeah. But you know, I think he was trying to probably give me a compliment. Maybe I read it wrong.
I wish people desisted from giving these compliments.
Compliments. I agree, but you know, for me, I mean, of course, I didn't end up doing the film. I never went back to that office again. But for me, you know, Smriti, what becomes funny sometimes and sad sometimes is the fact that, you know, the way people look at you or where you're coming from. And then, you know, that's again what I was talking about. Ki logo ko kaam, matlab not log na, I don't mean everyone, but you know, we are so caught up ki, you know, that formulaic thing, you know, what works. Acha theek hai, you know, do gaane honge, aisa, you know, imagine in a country with 1.35 billion people, with at least 2 stories every single person has. Why are we stuck still at Romeo and Juliet, and why aren't we not coming to more original stories? Why aren't we digging out from our vernacular literature? We have such amazing literature, right? Why aren't we adapting more? Why aren't we telling more Indian original stories which are so funny, engaging, evoking? That's because you're sitting in that formulaic thing, you know, and certain things work. You know, a girl will look a certain way, will wear a bikini, do an item number. That's changing. Again, a lot has changed. And this was, you know, this incident happened in my second or third year of being in Bombay. But for me, that intent is very important. यार कि तुम ये कहानी क्यों बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे हो? क्या महत्व रखता है ये कहानी आपके लिए? You know, what is it about the story that, you know, made you feel like getting so many people, putting in so much money and do this? And where do I fit? You know, so that intent of the writing of the script of the filmmaker is very important. If you don't value me and my contribution, whatever minute and small that might be, if you don't value that, then probably I am not cut out for it, you know. And I don't mean with any pomposity. I just feel that I wouldn't want to engage if you don't want to engage with me, because for me that engagement is through the collaboration, and that won't happen if our politics are not matching. Very important.
You know, Shayoni, I'm also very interested in the fact that I had heard of ghostwriting, but you got a few offers for ghost acting. It's fascinating.
Oh God, Smriti!
I'll move on. Okay. You've always been vocal politically on social media, which is very risky given our current environment, right? Now, have you ever been daunted by how that could possibly affect your career? Has it ever played at the back of your mind? Because, I mean, clearly not, but I'm just saying that, you know, these days, and for better or worse, actors are hired looking at their social media imprint. A lot of projects, I mean, not only, I mean, brands I get, but even films, sometimes you're cast because they look at how many Instagram followers you have. Does this bother you?
That casting process, that is a new addition. It's bizarre. I've seen messages from people, my casting director friends have shown or, you know, told me, it's bizarre. I can't understand what has acting or being a character got to do with the following. You know, I mean, it's just like weird. But anyway, let's not even get into that, because I don't understand it to, you know, have a conversation about it. But, you know, I feel before being an actor, I'm a human being. You know, I'm a citizen of the country. I'm a citizen of the world. I have had a certain kind of education, upbringing, conditioning. You know, I have a certain politics and worldview, and that is a very big integral part of who I am. And irrespective of my profession, that will always be something I will value. It's something that is important to me. I must tell you that if I wasn't a relatively known person, my Twitter would have been way more explosive. But I can't, unfortunately. But I'm also glad I'm not too famous, or I'm famous that, you know, they don't come out, you know, whatever it is. So in a way, I'm treading it very, like, you know, but you know, it's just something that I can't not do. And I don't, my mother, by the way, she's not obviously on any social media, but she sometimes tells me, and now it's become more and more often that she's like, please don't write anything, please don't say anything, okay? You will not get work, they'll blacklist you. And for me, it's like, why does a blacklist me like mother? It doesn't work like that. Nobody blacklists you. But whatever her understanding of that is, but even if people thought that, oh, we won't work with her, I don't think it happens like that at all. But I don't think, I mean, I don't feel that sense of fear. Of course, there is a general sense of fear that we all feel. But otherwise, I don't think that ever has come in the way of what will people think or what will people say. I would want to write much more that I don't, and I can't even tell you the number of tweets that I've written and not posted. But yeah, it is something that has been also. यार सौबात की एक बात, मैं हूँ तो बंगाली, तो मुझे बोलना तो पड़ेगा. So आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते उसके बारे में.
कि बेसिकली ये तो अब गाड़ी प्लेटफॉर्म से चल चुकी है बहुत पहले, अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
Yeah.
No, but more power to you, Shayoni, because it's a brave thing to do, to have a voice and to voice your opinion about things that are happening. So really appreciate that. The
Thank
other
you.
thing is that not many people know that you're also a producer. You've taken your first step as a producer. Actors like Deepika Padukone, Priyanka Chopra, and Anushka Sharma have ventured into production, and Renuka Shahane, Sheetal Menon, Seema Pava, Tanishta Chatterjee have made their first foray into direction. Why did you decide to put on the hat of a producer, and is direction on the cards?
Yeah, it is on the cards. I've been writing my script for so long now, but I am a very terrible writer, so I suck at that aspect. But no, direct production, because I mean, obviously, the names you took who have started producing are enormous names, and they have a lot of power, and they have a lot of merit through the work, the body of work that they have. But for me, Smriti, a realization came a few years ago that, more than there is no point actually complaining about the kind of work that is not happening or the kind of work you want to be part of. Or, it's just if you have the means of doing it, you have to go out there and do it yourself. And as I mean, it's not just to cast myself. I truly, and that's actually the most important reason why I wanted to be a star, actually, to be first at the first place, is to be in a position. And I'm not a star and far from it. I don't know if I'd ever be. But the only reason I feel that someday it might help if I want to enable projects, empower people, empower voices, and create, put the money where my mouth is, create projects where I can bring in people together. And I know it'll connect with you, Smriti, because you have that germ in you of bringing people together. What gives me the most joy is getting people to come together and collaborate, getting people together. And it gives me immense joy. I can't tell you how happy it makes me feel. And if I can sort of get to a place, and it's obviously I'm far, far from it, I'm trying to start out. But if I can get to a place where I can bring people who I think would collaborate, have the right similar mind space, politics, energies together, that's a big dream. And, I always, like, somebody asked me, if you feel about things so deeply, why don't you become an activist? And my thing is that, I have immense respect for activists and political and social activists, because it's something that I can't do. And these people have lived their lives for a cause. They have given up everything for one cause, for the greater good of society. But I feel my work is actually the reflection of the activism and my politics. My activism is through my work and the stories I choose to tell. And, if I ever go, or I mean, I'm hoping I'd be here for millions of years, or at least the next 30 years, touch wood. But
Definitely.
through that, the stories I can sort of be part of and collaborate with wonderful people, and tell our kind of stories, smaller stories, evocative stories, inspiring stories, funny stories, all kinds of stories. that's really going to be beautiful. And yeah, I hope that happens.
That will happen, Shayoni. You will make it happen, and best of luck to you for that. There are lots of people on this session who would like to ask you questions. So can we unmute Rishta Kothari, please?
Hi Shayani, your session was amazing. I am feeling so overjoyed to know your journey. It was beautiful. And
Thank you.
I have this one question for you, and that is what were some of your best and the worst moments as an actor?
Wow. um, First of all, thank you. The best moments. Okay, so I did a film called Where the Winds Blow, which I also have co-produced, and we were shooting under very, very difficult circumstances. We were actually, oh my God, you guys, mommy, you have like stills for everything. So, and we were, I mean, we trekked actually for 27 days, and there was one point where I thought I was actually having a heart attack, and I'm not making it up. Um, and there was one moment where it was almost like the avalanche was coming, and we were in there. It was just like snow till almost our waist, and we had to leave that place because there was a snow blizzard coming. And we literally had like 15 minutes or something in that space because everyone would have, like, our blood would have frozen if we had spent more time in there. And we did one take, and it's somewhere, it wasn't really happening. And then the director, I sort of, I after the first take I said, "और एक करे क्या?" And everyone sort of looked at me like, "पागल है ये, और एक take, मतलब मर जाएंगे इससे पहले." And because when the actor comes, and I believe that, yeah, as an actor you have to do everything. If it's in your mind, you can't say no. And I came and I was like, "और एक करे क्या?" And the director immediately was like, "हाँ हाँ चलो और एक करते." And the we felt like we needed something more in that shot. And if this was the camera, I was starting from behind the camera, and we needed wind in that shot. And the director said something, which is, "Guys, please pray for wind, okay?" And those few seconds I could feel, and we were 7 people over there. I felt like I was standing there, like waiting, the camera started rolling. And I felt like we all jointly just prayed to whoever this power for wind, okay? And I almost heard like, yeah, I could feel. And the director said, "Okay, action." And I went, and by the time I come in front of the, like, midpoint, it was a long wide frame. I come in the middle, there was a snow blizzard that comes, and like it's almost like it was like flying me away, and I was pushing it, and we got the shot. And I'm getting goosebumps. So we got the shot, we ended the shot. It was a long shot. I came, sat back down, and the wind just faded away. And in the end, it was, there were prayer flags. The prayer flag was like, just like that. And it just like, and that's again the magic I was talking about. Certain times, certain things happen. When you give out the right intent, things just fall into place, man. So I feel, just give it out, whatever you want, just put it in the universe, it'll happen. So yeah, it was the best, probably the most, magical experience, because it was obviously this environment. Worst, I don't know, yaar. Worst, very difficult. Oh, uh,
Why,
I,
Shayoni? Too many?
yeah, worst. Yeah. Oh, by the way, worst was when I felt really ill inside at season 2. The first 3 scenes that you see me, I actually came from, and I have this habit of like shooting for multiple things at the same time. So I literally landed in Bombay, went to, set, which was a long way away in Vashi, and I felt sick. I started getting diarrhea and crazy, like, bad cramps. Anyway had viral. I was coming back from article shoot, and I finished an 18-hour shift that day. All the 3 scenes had only me, or with 1 or 2 co-actors, and it was just like, it was called the Rohini Day. And I came back home around, I think, 12:40 or 12:45 in the night. And the next 4 days, I was on drips. So that was really the worst day, because I just couldn't stand up. I was really struggling with the physicality. So that has to be the worst day, probably.
Hi, ma'am. It has been a delightful experience to talk to you like this.
Thank
Ma'am,
you.
so when new age actors they move to Bombay, there are a lot of difficulties. First of all, some of them come with a deadline that I have these 1-2 years and I have to make it big. Some of them don't come with it, but at the back of their mind it is going on that what am I doing? Am I wasting my time? Are the resources of my parents going to waste? Had I been doing a job instead of this? So how did you keep your spirits high during the initial days in Bombay? Because I read in an interview where Rajkumar Rao said that he used to enact scenes with his roommates, and he kept on doing something or the other every day. So he kept on meeting people. So how did you keep your spirits high in those initial days?
Thank you for the question, Parul, and it's equally my pleasure to be talking to you like this. Thank you for being here and your time. Uh,
Thank you
you
so
know,
much, ma'am.
it's funny you say Rajkumar's. I mean, you cite Rajkumar's example because he's somebody I saw during that time of his life because he's a senior from FTI and we had common friends. And I would often, like, every time I would come to Bombay to meet my friends, I would see him just every day he would come to meet us after either he was going for a meeting or an audition, and I saw that spirit, to get ready every day and you go out there to look for work, because that really is the most important work when you come to the city. When I came, I had one motto. I came with an understanding that I might have to assist, and it's something that I truly enjoy. I even till today I love assisting every aspect of it. And I knew that obviously nobody is going to see me in a coffee shop and see and be like, oh, I was waiting for you and I will give you a job. It doesn't happen like that, right? So I had a realistic approach, in a so to say. And I thought that if I'm here to be an actor, everyone who's making content needs to know I exist. And the only way for that to happen is through auditions. I don't know anybody. Of course, because we came from film school, it was a batch who came together. You have your seniors. So, we would have WhatsApp groups where people would tell each other, my batchmates, some of who are probably listening on Facebook, we would tell each other, ki, Are, udhar ho raha hai, Are, idhar tere liye fit hai, these spaces like Mahada or Aramnagar or Shriji, wherever the auditions would happen. And, that upmarket or, fit, not fit, that whole thing. I would do 8-9 auditions every day. Yeah, I would go out in the morning, pack my bags, be in one attire, take changes, and sometimes come back home, get into. Sometimes I used to think, what is my security guard thinking? What does she do? But probably they know because it's in Bombay. So that was the intent, and of course, you are not going to get all the things that you audition for. Most of them will not convert. Most of them won't happen because it's not meant to happen. So again, rejection is something, Parul, that I feel that it's a constant in our lives, right? You have chosen to be an actor, so you should understand and come to terms with the fact that it's rejection is part and parcel of it, but you have nothing to do in it. You are not right for that part. It has nothing to do with your talent or your merit or your looks or any of that. And when you go out there into a room, and especially because you are a girl, I have to say this, that I always felt like, when you go in there with a sense of dignity, holding your head high, and not coming from an ego, but coming from a place of self-worth, knowing that you are here because you deserve to be here. And they need you as much as you need them. And this, please, I do not mean it as gyan, but I've seen it with myself, yeah. When you go out there, you do an audition, you do it with confidence, you do it well. And every audition that I've done, I might not have gotten that part or that ad and that film, but other people have seen the auditions, because auditions get circulated amongst people a lot all the time, and I've gotten other jobs out of that. So many ads I got like that. Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, I was very close to being finalized apparently for Kalki's part. Obviously didn't happen, and I'm very thankful. Kalki was fantastic in the film, and it was right at the beginning. But because the audition was landed well and it landed with the right people, I kept getting called for multiple other auditions. None of those films actually happened. But having said that, you have that momentum going, and that's very, very important. Again, theater saved me, it really did, because the first 3 years I did so much theater, so much stage, because an actor only grows with practice, and without that practice you will rust. The more you work, the more you sharpen. It's like a knife, you have to keep sharpening it, and it's only in the doing, as I said. So theater really saved me. It not only kept me hungry, but it also kept me sane, which is actually a very, very important thing. Also, I had lovely people, friends who kept me sane. A lot of big cushioning there.
I think I just want to add to that one of the things that Shayoni said, that when she came out of FTI and she started, doing the rounds, she said that, one of the things that I was determined to do when I used to go from morning to night to audition, whenever I found out that there's an audition, is that my purpose was that everyone who's creating in Bombay, anything, whether they're creating a short film, ad film, feature, they should know me. They should know that I exist, that I am a working actor, that I am available. And then after that, it's their call whether they want to work with me or not. So, that's a very important thing, that opportunity should not be missed out because people are not aware that there is a person that is also in the market available for hire.
Thank you for this amazing session. So my question to you would be from a director. I think I'm learning how to make films and I write. So when I'm making my short films and I'm talking to the actors there, often I come from a place of ego, because I've written the thing. I'm also there planning out the shots, and I'm all about how it's going to look and how the movement is going to be and all that. And I often find myself telling my actors that, just be more angry and be more sad and smile over here after you say that line, and while I'm doing that, I know that it's very disrespectful, but I don't know how to do it better. If you can help me with that. And also, if I may ask a slightly different question, what's it like in FTI? Because that's where I want to be after this.
First of all, your second question first, FTI was outstanding for me. But I always feel that, it's not necessary, and you're doing it, you're in the, you're a practitioner already. You can always assist. And unfortunately, given the very, very unfortunate, given the political scenario, things have changed since we were there, and if you have a way to learn it on the job, go ahead and do it. Of course, it's a stunning place. It's beautiful. And we still, even today, we are fighting for the mess workers and their wage, till today we are writing, letters. So it's the connection of blood that will always be there, and it's one of the greatest art schools probably in the world, I would like to believe, because it enables you, it also gives you freedom. Coming to your first question, and it's a really pertinent question, I think as a director, and especially when you're directing actors, and actor handling is such a huge part of directing, right? What do you tell your actors, right? How do you communicate what's in your mind? And of course, as a director, your biggest work is to communicate your vision with everyone who's part of your team. Not just actors, but how your DOP, how you're seeing the shot. How do you design sound? Everything. Where does the music? What kind of music? Every department. And that's why, as actors, I believe that you are trying to execute the script and the story, but also the director's vision. So whatever the director wants of you, you'll have to give it. There is no scope for saying nahi, mujhse nahi hoga or nahi karunga. Obviously, you come from a place of your understanding, and as a director, I think you should do some workshops. It always helps. I've seen directors direct much better once they have had an experience of acting. Because some of the tools that you have, like, there's Adi Shakti. I know for a fact that some of my director friends have gone and done workshop at Adi Shakti. When you engage and when you go on the other side of the craft, what are the things, if I need to express something and explain something, what are the things that I need to say? Now, as a director, you will not say the same thing to two actors, because you are merely talking to the human being. What will work with me and the lingo and the language you will use with me will not work with another co-actor. You also need to figure out what works for who. So it really helps if you can go and do workshops, and because you're starting out, you will get so many things. Like I said, as an actor, it helped me because I knew the back end of making the film, and it helped me. Likewise, if you sort of, you know, get a sense of what goes into the craft, and again, you know, read interviews, read books, and that will definitely help you. A very funny story, a friend told me that she was shooting, I think this was back in FA only, and a director wanted her to give a look of longing, okay, and she was not getting it or something, and the director was like, you know, वो longing, you know, वो आ नहीं रहा है, और जब नहीं आता है तब, you know, सब पागल हो जाते हैं कि यार वो एक look नहीं आ रहा है. And then the director apparently came and told her कि just imagine the taste of imli, tamarind in your mouth, and just keep staring with that sense of you have tamarind on your tongue. And she did it. And even if you now, as an exercise, when you do it, you close your eyes and imagine you have tamarind, it does something to your face, to your facial muscles, you know. You have that saliva, there's a glint that comes in your eyes probably. And apparently the director got the shot, which is a fascinating story to me, you know. So you have to tell anything that you want to get that damn shot of the actor. And you'll figure what to say with time, I think. But good luck.
And Rishabh, I just want to tell you that this is all the motivation that we needed. Like we were thinking about it, but now that you've asked this question, I think we must do a session on actor handling, talent
Yes.
handling, because you know, even Vikramaditya Motwani and a lot of people who've been on the show have spoken about how that is an art. That
Yes.
is literally something that you need to know how to do, because of the fact that whatever said and done, your actor is going to be the vehicle of your vision.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
being at cross purposes with the actor who's going to carry your vision forward is probably not the best of ideas. So wait for us to announce that session. We'll
Yes.
do that for sure.
Thank you so much for being here, for inviting us, Mami. So my question is more over related to the subconscious mind of an actor. जैसे हम बात कर रहे हैं कि instincts, memories, these all ideas, these all elements comes from a actor's subconscious mind. So how do we construct a craft that is stored in our subconscious mind? Because we act, when we are right from we are on this earth, we are on our mind, we are acting, but it is sometimes conscious, sometimes it's unconscious. मतलब जितना मैंने पढ़ा है, जितना मैंने देखा है, so how do one construct that craft, that technique of bringing that subconscious ideas into your conscious while you're on screen or on stage, and how do you do that?
I don't think I mean, there is a chabi that you opened and you're like, okay, now subconscious mind come in it doesn't happen like that. Your subconscious mind is a part and is a cumulative effect of the conditioning, your upbringing, your exposure, the education you've had, your worldview, how much you've read, observed, seen, films you see, everything is part of your subconscious mind, you know. And it's fascinating when you want to channel that into real actions, into tangible behavioral patterns, right? And that is something that happens with all this that I was talking about, that, you know, once you study the character, once you study the script, you would have your things that are stored in your subconscious come in the forefront, you know, of your cerebral lobe. That will have it's a natural process. Thoughts, you don't have control over your thoughts, you know. When you think, you know, when you're meditating, you're like, acha ab to nahi sochunga, you know, control my thoughts. That's when all the thoughts come in, right? So when you do the back end work, when you are studying the script, when you're doing your research, for example, say in Gora, you know, in Article 15, now in my subconscious mind, I had images that I had seen of people from that community, of the struggles, of the news that I was reading, of the, you know, of the photos that I would see that were etched at the back of my mind. Those are not things, you know, where I would feel helpless. Those were all part of my also conscious mind, right? But certain things get stored. And after that, when I got the film, I started reading. There's a lot of reading material that my friends sent me, who work, you know, who are, you know, in Chhattisgarh, who work with the Dalit communities. And that's, reading through those material also sort of opened up certain things, that what I can do, how I could sit, or how I could talk, or what, so those small nuances will come to you if you do the active work of studying and research and all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was amazing. Thank you.
Chayoni, thank you for. I just want to tell everyone here, first of all, that, Chayoni is a very thorough worker, a very serious artist, she has a great sense of humor. So she's powered through this session and has really prepared, because she didn't want to disappoint anyone. She really wanted her point of view and her lens on acting to come out. And she's a very diligent, follower and lover of cinema, because every year, no matter what work she gets, she takes 8 days off and attends Mami. There are many times that we wanted her to be on the jury, but she's does short films like We Go to the Parlor. And so half the time the short film is in competition or is being adjudged. So I hope that changes next year.
Yeah.
But thank you, Chayoni, for
Thank
giving
you.
us the time and for the preparation that you've done.
Thank you. Kriti,
Also,
in the
thank
end,
you.
sorry,
Yeah,
I just want to, there's something, and I will feel bad and regret that I didn't say it.
Go for it.
To just answer, and, I know a lot of you would be acting soon, or if, already actors. I just feel that, one thing to remember is no role is big or small. If there is little bit of meat that you feel you can bite into, you can make a, memorable performance out of it and do justice to that. So please don't think that acha ye chota role hai. Mahershala Ali, who won the Oscars for Moonlight, was there for 3 scenes. So no role is big or small. And coming, when somebody had asked me about in the beginning how it felt, it's if you can make something out of it, and you will. There is no reason you can't make a small role into a big, memorable role. तो इतना अच्छा, close up दोगे कि it won't cut to the stars close up. Just make sure, you give a good part and बाकी editor के भरोसे. So
एडिटर से मैं यही बोलने वाली थी कि एडिटर से दोस्ती कर लेना, नंबर 1.
बिल्कुल, एडिटर सबसे बढ़िया दोस्त बने. और actually I believe that films get made and performances get made on the edit table a lot of times. So thank you for all the editors who have cut me very well.
No, but Chayoni is absolutely right. Chayoni's work in Jolly LLB 2, which was a 10-minute role, was so impactful. And if anybody has watched the Taapsee Pannu episode, you would know that Taapsee has chased, despite the fact that she was an actor down south, she chased the role that she got in Neeraj Pandey's Baby, because she knew that role has the potential to give her a footing, a sort of niche which is specific to her, in the Hindi film industry. So what Chayoni is saying is absolutely right. Like, look at the scope of that character more than looking at the length of the character. So thank you, Chayoni, for everything that you brought to the table. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please send us your feedback. If we can become better in any way, please let us know. We are also learning as we go along. If there are specific things that you would like sessions on, please tell us. I'm saying this to people in the room and also people who are watching on Facebook. The next session is going to be with Vicky Kaushal. And the session is on the 13th of August. And Vicky is going to be talking about the power of surprise and affability. And I'm really looking forward to talking to Vicky. He's one of my favorite actors, and he's humble AF. So thank you, guys. We're going to wrap up right now. Have a great evening, and Chayoni, everyone, thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here.